What's up, everybody? Welcome to this special interview with BIS President Ben Jedlovec. Baseball Info Solutions, also known as Sports Info Solutions now. You might know them behind the scenes. They're the player behind the guy, and there's some interesting history there. And they power the projections that we have for this season's fantasy baseball, daily fantasy baseball content. So we're really excited to have them for the second year. Last year was great. And this year will hopefully be even better. We'll talk about that in a second. Ben, thanks for joining us. Real quickly, just give us like the elevator pitch of what BIS, Baseball Info Solutions, is.
Yeah, so we're a sports data and analytics company. We have been around since 2002. We started just in baseball. It was co-founded by, among others, John Dewan and Bill James, who had worked together to found Stats Inc. and do a lot of great work over the last decades in the sports analytics industry. And so we started in 2002 collecting and analyzing baseball data, and we've been able to build up the baseball side pretty well to the point where we're working with 25 and could be any hour now 26 out of the 30 major league teams. So we're very proud of that, and we've seen we've made the jump into college and NFL football as well, and we're very excited about the progress we've made and the progress to come on the football side as well. It's been trying to bring the same kind of data and analytical angle to the football side, where that industry has been a little bit slower to develop than the baseball side historically, and so we see an opportunity there to kind of help make an impact and move the industry forward.
If I said that Baseball Info Solutions, like they are partially responsible for the recent increase in defensive shifts that baseball teams implement now, would that be correct?
Well, we try not to take too much credit. So the way I would say it is, we've been advocating for an increase in shifting as our research has shown for 10 or 15 years now, that shifts are a way that teams can save themselves a couple of hits over the course of the year, depending on certain hitters in particular, and that can add up and save 20 or 30 runs over the course of the season. Be equivalent to adding a highly above average player, a very good player to your team when used strategically and correctly. So we've been advocating for that for a while, back before anybody was shifting beyond just Barry Bonds and David Ortiz. And I think the biggest thing that happened is the Tampa Bay Rays started shifting a lot, and with Joe Madden, and they went to the World Series in 2008, and they built a pretty successful team over there, and everybody started copying what they do, and we've been able to work with teams to provide them some data and some tools to help them shift better and to quantify the value of the shifting. And so we like to think we've played at least a little bit of a role in seeing the shifts go from something like 2,400 shifts on balls in play back in 2010, 2011 to something like 28,000 in 2016. So it's been really remarkable, the exponential growth on that front, and we like to think we've had at least a small role in that.
So modest, Ben. It's a welcome change to the stuff that we put out here at Fantasy Insiders. This is the second year that we've had the projections. This is the third year that you guys have done them. One of the things that I like the best about what you guys do, one of the reasons why we chose to work with you guys, and it's an exclusive partnership, is because of the ways that you backtest and you implement new features as well. And this season, you added some pretty cool things. Talk about that, if you would, the dibs and dips.
Sure. So just a little bit of the backstory is our projections history. We have been working with John Dewan and Bill James and on projections since baseball projections were the first time anybody ever created them. And so we've been building on projections, and John is particularly very involved in the daily fantasy projections and helping us to improve those models. And so about 3 years ago, we started building that, and we've really come a long ways, and we've back tested over historical data, utilized our database and rerun. Every time we make a change to the projection system, we test it by running it over historical data and make sure that it, trying different samples of data, it improves the model and it improves the predictive accuracy. And if it doesn't, then we're rethinking whether we're implementing it the right way or whether it's worth implementing at all. We don't want to add things just for the sake of adding things if it makes it more complex and doesn't actually improve the model. So one of the things that we worked on over the course of the last year was something called defense-independent batting and pitching statistics, which you know from the daily fantasy side where a guy can hit a blooper that falls in for a hit and that kills your team, because you had that pitcher, or a guy hits a scorching line drive and you really need that hit for the points on your daily fantasy lineup that day, but it's right at the shortstop or right at the third baseman and it's a relatively quick out. Well, those things tend to even out over the course of the year, of course, even if they don't in a smaller sample. But they don't even totally even out over the course of the year. Sometimes a pitcher is helped or hurt by a good defense, or a batter just has a particularly bad string of luck over the course of a full season. And so our defense-independent batting and pitching statistics take advantage of some of our proprietary data, hang times on fly balls, hit locations, trajectories, the velocity of ground balls, etc., and look at not just whether that was an out or a hit, but how often a similarly hard hit ball might be an out or a hit, and factor that in instead of just the outcome of that particular play. And we've found through our back testing process and such that by incorporating this, we've made some significant improvements to our model.
And you told me that the back testing methods, what you did was you implemented new features, you would go back and you would test them and back test them over the course of however many plate appearances, whatever the
Right.
history was. And then you only left in what actually improved the accuracy of the projections.
Right, exactly. It's one of those things you can add in as many variables as you want, but if it's something that's making your system more complicated, there's not a huge benefit to adding that in unless it actually improves the accuracy of those projections. And so we project, we test the correlations and the root mean square error and a bunch of different statistics to see if we are making things more accurate. And that's a philosophy that we have that we've held throughout most of our analytics, but particularly with projections testing over the years, and then bringing that over to the daily fantasy side.
How would you say that the BIS projections, the Sports Info Solutions projections, how do they differ from the typical MLB projection models out there?
Right. So, the nice thing about being at Sports Info Solutions is we are collecting data that you don't find publicly. We're collecting information that isn't available on FanGraphs. FanGraphs does, we do provide a lot of our data to FanGraphs, and they put it up, and a lot of what you see on their site is directly or indirectly from us. But there are things that we do proprietarily for teams that we have the ability to tap into for our projection systems. And so we do that. So these are the things, like I was mentioning, for example, before, the hang times on ground balls and fly balls, some other adjustments that we built into the system when we've looked at different speed components and stolen bases and such. We have the ability to continue to add in more and more analysis based on proprietary data, as opposed to just coming up with a better way to analyze the exact same box score statistics that everybody else is working off of. So that gives us a little bit of an advantage over some of the public systems out there, and I think it shows in the accuracy.
Well, good. We're ecstatic again about having the projections for a second year in a row. We're the exclusive provider of these projections. They work with our optimizer. We also have some of the content that we provided with the optimizer. So we'll write a little blurb about a player, why he's a good matchup. You'll see the projections in the optimizer, and then you can see the little note on why he's a good play. So hopefully we're marrying content with these accuracy or these accurate projections into something that should be really cool. You can go to fantasyinsiders.com/plans to purchase it, or fantasyinsiders.com/BIS-promo. And I want to give a quick plug to the Twitter account. It's at sportsinfo_SIS. So that's the new Sports Info Solutions Twitter account. And they have some cool stuff. Like, found out that Alejandro Daza was the unluckiest hitter in baseball last year.
Yeah, right. No, he that was an interesting little nugget. And we went back and looked at the video, and you can see he was hitting line drives all over the place. They were just right at people. He doesn't get a lot of publicity and is kind of bouncing around trying to get a regular job this year. But it's an interesting little nugget, just how sometimes the ball bounces against guys and you don't even realize it, and they might not even have an opportunity. But if they do get an opportunity, you might look at them as an upside play or something. But I did want to say, two things. Is first, it's been fantastic over the last couple of years working with the Fantasy Insiders Group. I think that's what makes our partnership really work well. Is you guys are the perfect outlet for this kind of premium type level data and fantasy analysis, and that fits in very well with what we're doing. Including some maybe we'll call it breaking news here. We have some additional adjustments that we continue to add to the projection system, including one that the guys in the other office are working on right now, related to forecasting projected lineups and playing time a little bit better. So factoring in some more variables about off days and who is likely to be in the lineup that day. Say you've got a 10 o'clock game, but your lineups are gonna lock at 7 o'clock and the lineup's not out yet. Being able to forecast that lineup that much better is obviously important for daily fantasy purposes. So we've got some improvements on that front that we're going to be rolling out shortly and sending over to you guys as part of the projections package, and plenty more to come.
Yes, and the projections, they do change throughout the day. So based on those lineup changes, if there's anything in there, they will change on the site, and you'll get the alerts from Fantasy Insiders as well. Ben Jedlovec, he's president of Baseball Info Solutions, Sports Info Solutions, again, on Twitter, @sportsinfo_SIS, and you can purchase those projections as an add-on on fantasyinsiders.com. Ben, thanks so much for joining us, and we are hoping we're going to have an amazing 2017 MLB season.
I'm sure it will, and thanks, David, and talk to you soon.